driving and I'm talking, and if I get in an accident, our viral goes video. But I've gotten a lot of messages. You know, I'm sorry guys, I can't get to them all anymore. There's just so many messages. So I try to read through them, but I just can't get through them all anymore. So by all means, if you read one of the messages and you've got the answer and you see I haven't said anything, just answer the people. Somebody asked about why is the mud yellow? And right below it, somebody had answered the question. He's using pigmented mud. And absolutely right. That's exactly what I'm doing. I use a pigmented mud. I was just asked questions about nails versus screws. I don't know where you're at, but nobody uses nails anymore, not around here. It's not that screws pop less than nails do. That is not true. The thing about the screw pops between nails and screws is the screw head is really small and very unnoticeable when it does pop. The nail head is big because you gotta dimple it in, and it becomes a big spot in the wall when the nail pops. Screws versus nails, one screw equals two nails. If you're gonna have one screw in there, or you can have one screw. Otherwise, you gotta put two nails in there instead. I've got a bucket of nails in my garage that I haven't touched in a few years. I haven't touched this bucket of nails ever since I started using tape on corner bead. I stopped using nails. Now, even after everything was screwed off, we still used nails to nail on metal corner bead. The problem with screwing off corner bead, and this is the problem that I've had because I'm a hack, is when I screw off one side, it would pull it one direction. Or when I have to screw off the other side, it pulls it the other direction. So it was pulling my corner bead back and forth with the screws. So I found if I nailed corner bead on, I could nail it on much straighter and keep it really straight than trying to screw it on. So when I was using metal corner bead, I still nailed it on. I would nail it on today. I would not even think about screwing on corner bead today. I would still nail it on. But I don't use metal corner bead anymore. I just don't. I repair it, but even when I'm repairing it now, I'm repairing it with the tape on, super wide tape on bead. Water freezes at 32 degrees. So temperatures drop 32 degrees, your mud's freezing. It's just water. It's the water that freezes in it. The glue will separate out of the mud when it freezes. I've had mud that has frozen not solid, not fully solid, but it just got cold enough where it froze a little bit, started to freeze around the sides of the bucket and everything else. And I caught it, and I was able to thaw it out, and I was able to mix it well, and I was able to reuse it. But if it freezes solid, throw it out. It's garbage. It's just garbage mud. All the paper is going to fall off the walls. We used to tape these garages up here for fire code in the dead of winter, freezing temperatures. We'd tape it, we'd roll it, and then we'd scrape the mud off of the angles. We would tape and have to wipe right behind the tape on all of the seams. And we would get it all taped, and everything would be frozen solid. Minutes after we get done taping, it's frozen. Come springtime, all the tape falls off the walls. So we have to go in there and retape all of the garages come springtime. But the house was never gonna pass occupancy, and people were never gonna move in this house if the garages weren't fire taped. So we had to fire tape them in order for the people to have occupancy. But like I said, as soon as the temperatures thawed and the spring came, all the tape peeled. You just go in there, you peel it all out, and we'd probably have a row of homes. We might have 15, 20 homes that we had to peel all of the tape out and redo the garages. But you know what? It's fire tape, and we can knock out those 10 or 15 homes in a day. It's not a hard thing to do. It's just a garage, and we just peel out the tape and we just retape it real quick. Very, very quick, very easy. Can't tape wood. I mean, you can. You'll pay the consequences for it. I mean, you can tape wood all you want. It's just not going to stay taped. As soon as the wood goes through a season and expands and contracts, all of the mud's going to break off and flake off the wood. You know, I seen them, they do the plastering, and you'll see the plaster lath, where they keep a space in between all of the lath boards. They have the space in between them. And that's so the base coat can go in between those cracks and it grips from behind the wooden lath. So it's held on from behind, and then your plaster coat goes on top of that. Well, when you're doing drywall, if you were to just try to mud on wood and top on wood, it doesn't stick. The minute that wood, as soon as you get that moisture on the wood goes and expands, and it sucks up all that moisture. And over the next couple of weeks, it just contracts, and everything just flakes and falls right off. So yeah, drywall mud is not going to stick to wood. You're going to have people sit there and say, oh, I've mudded wood all the time, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, and they're not getting called back by those people either. Because as soon as they do have a problem with it, those people aren't going to call them. I cannot tell you on how many jobs I've gone to where they had problems with cracks and problems with the way it was taped. And they're not calling the people back who did the job in the first place. Matter of fact, the people who did the job in the first place were friends of theirs, and they don't want to hurt them, embarrass them, hurt their feelings or anything else. So they don't want to call them back, but they do want the job right. So they call me, and I come in there and I just fix it and I make it right. If you're thinking I had no problems with the job, also ask yourself, have you done the same job for the same guy over the last 20 years? I've been working with my builders for 20, 30 years. It's that one builder that I know, I've known him for 30 years, and I've done his work. He doesn't have a problem with anything that I've done over the last 30 years. And I've been back in houses. I remember this one basement that I did 20 years ago, and I do work with the guy. Still, you know, here's 20 years later, I'm still doing the work. Matter of fact, that particular homeowner hired this particular builder because they wanted me to do the drywall and the finishing. Not so much the hanging, but they wanted me to do the finishing because 20 years later, there was nothing wrong with the drywall that I did. The rest of their house was cracked to death. They had nail pops, sediment cracks, angle cracks, corner bead cracks everywhere throughout the rest of their house. But 20 years later, all of the drywall work that I did looked just like it did when they first painted it 20 years ago. So yes, if you're sitting there saying, yeah, I taped wood, you know, I don't pre-fill, I don't do this other stuff that this guy does. But are you doing work for the same guy for over 20 years? Because chances are you're probably not. They're not calling you back because they do have the pops, the cracks, the tape falling off the wall, and everything else. So I hope not. I mean, I hope you're not living in an area where you have the temperature and humidity changes that we're having. Then, like I said, we didn't pre-fill in Arizona, but it's 0% humidity most of the year. We have a few months that it gets a little cold and you got to wear a jacket. Other than that, it's 110 degrees, sunny and hot. And I'd hate to be a weatherman in Arizona, wouldn't you? Well, from April until December, it's going to be 110 degrees, sunny and hot. And then they can just repeat that all for the next 8 months. They can just say the same thing all over again. You guys have a good day. If you really, really like us, subscribe. What else? Subscribe, share, Amazon, Patreon. Hey, Patreon, if you donate enough money, we'll get you one of these, all right? Amazon, Patreon, subscribe, share, you name it. Let's grow. Let's be a big community. You guys have a great day.